Coming up, Bill O'Reilly joins us right here on Vince and Jason Save the Nation. Vince and Jason Save the Nation is brought to you by Goldco. I have a warning for you. Inflation, tax hikes, they're Biden's only way out of our over $30 trillion federal debt. So if you have $50,000 or more in your IRA, 401k, or savings, your money, it's at risk. So learn how you can protect it with physical gold and silver. Just call 855-948-1605 to get your free gold IRA kit. That's right. Just call 855-948-1605. And my friends at Goldco will give you up to $15,000 or more in free silver with a qualified account. You know, Goldco has helped thousands of Americans protect their retirement against inflation and tax hikes. So what are you waiting for? Just call 855-948-1605 now.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Vince and Jason Save the Nation. I am Dr. Jason Nichols, and that is my good friend, Vince Coglianese. And I think you probably know who that other guy is. Vince, who is he?
It's Bill O'Reilly. He's an American conservative, American commentator. He's beloved among conservatives, a journalist, author, television host, and he's appeared on many networks you'll know. Inside Edition, ABC News, CBS, Fox News, and he has his own podcast called No Spin News. And he's the author of the new book, Killing the Killers, a part of the best-selling book series. Bill O'Reilly, great to talk to you, sir.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me in.
Very, very much appreciate it. We want to get to the book with you. We want to just ask some basic questions here first, though. What you think about is going on in the world right now? The big question is the Biden administration. I know that you've been talking lately about whether or not Biden should hang it up, whether or not he should resign. What do you think about that prospect?
Well, he should resign. You know, on No Spin News, what we do every night on BillO'Reilly.com is we do analysis and opinion, but it's fact-based. So first we give you the facts, and the Biden administration is a disaster. There's no two sides to that story, unless you believe that Putin is responsible for the open border and the violent crime surge and inflation and all that. If you believe that, then okay. But if you are a sane person, you know the Biden administration is failing. So to your question, Vince, I said this week on the No Spin News, look, Joe Biden is not going to get any better. He's 80 in November. His policies have failed across the board. And if you don't believe that, please, and I have millions of people watching and listening to me on a radio, please send me one thing, just one, that Joe Biden has improved in this country in 18 months that he's been in the Oval Office. All I want is one. Send it to me. Of course, I got none. Zero. Now, you're talking about an audience that's not ideological, because the No Spin News goes out on radio on a variety of different stations across the country, and we're worldwide. We go worldwide. So you got to figure that there's somebody in there who likes Biden. Okay, so I got nothing out of it. And if your audience has something, it's Bill@BillO'Reilly.com, Bill@BillO'Reilly.com. Tell me, I want to know. So let's assume that he hasn't done anything that has benefited the nation. Let's assume that for the sake of argument. Then how can the man run again for president in 24? Mm-hmm. He can't, and he won't.
Yeah.
Right? So
Jason, I wonder if you could answer Bill's question. Jason's our friend on the left. Do you have a sense that there's something that Joe has improved? And what are your feelings, Jason, on Biden running again in 24?
So the first question, or the second question first. First of all, I just want to say thank you, Bill, for coming on. And one of the things that I will give you props for is that you broke a lot of careers in news, including some people that I really admire, like Mark Lamont Hill, Jason Johnson. They all appeared on your show, and I think that's pretty cool. But I first of all, him in 2024, that's a difficult question. I don't see any real alternatives out there on the left, unless we really rally around somebody who's an unknown, like, mm-hmm. Maybe like a Ruben Gallegos or someone like that. I'm not so sure that you have a better option out there, certainly not Kamala Harris, who is going to be more popular than Joe Biden, that can give us a win. The only thing that I can honestly say is that I think the best gift that the right can give the Democrats if they run Biden in 2024 is if the right runs Trump. I think they're better off running someone like DeSantis than running Trump, because the left gets excited about Trump. They get energized. They'll come out for Trump. They probably won't do that for DeSantis, and lower participation means that Republicans win. But the other part, as far as things that Biden has accomplished, of course, we could talk about adding 7 million jobs. We can talk about lowest child poverty on record. We can talk about getting us to 3.6% unemployment. Now, inflation, of course, we can talk about inflation. We can talk about gas prices. But you know what gas prices, the average is in England right now? It's $9 a gallon. Joe Biden didn't fly to England and create the gas prices over there. And again,
let me just, because you're going to get so much, the audience not going to be able to follow it.
All right. So go ahead, Bill.
Number one, you're right about the Democrats not having anyone. Okay. But in November, it is likely 75% that the Republicans will win the House and the Senate. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sure. And this is the Cook report. This is an O'Reilly. So once that happens, the Biden administration is through. They'll never get anything passed. And if he signs an executive order, it'll be immediately challenged in federal court. So he sits there literally doing nothing for 2 years, which might be a good thing. But it's not a good thing for the Democratic Party. So at that point, David Axelrod, who's already made noise about this, and the other real prestigious Democrats are going to say, Joe, for the sake of the nation and the party, particularly the party, please resign. Kamala will be a placeholder. She'll come in, be a placeholder. And what they're going to say is Joe Biden resigns over health reasons. That will be the reason. Okay, you'll see it. Because the Democratic Party can't go into 24 with Biden as the incumbent, because he's not going to get any better. And the country's anger at him is now reached almost historical levels. Now, your stats. 7 million jobs created is a bogus stat. And you should know this, Jason. You're a smart guy. You're a PhD. Okay? Mm-hmm. 7 million starts when COVID shut down the entire economy. Mm-hmm. Okay? So You're starting from nothing, and then you build back to what was the employment rate under Trump. So actually, under Trump, wages for the American worker, for minorities in particular, were higher than they are now. All right? So the worker, the American person who gets up, wants the best for his family, is doing worse under Biden than under Trump. And that's not in dispute on any economic plane. Go ahead.
Okay, that's actually, Bill, that's actually untrue. Wages have risen 5.6%, at least last time I checked, under
from COVID stopping the economy, not from the last day of Trump. And so you have to look at the last day of Trump, okay, because he had a year of COVID. That's the fair assessment,
right,
to what we have now.
So the other thing,
start in April 2022 when everything stopped, and that's when the Biden administration is starting. But I don't want to bore the audience with stats. They can make up their own mind. Are you better off now than you were when Trump was president, even during COVID? Yes or no? Everybody's saying no, 65%.
Right.
But let me get to the most important point I'd like to make. The Democrats have one person who could win the presidency in 24, and that's Michelle Obama. Okay? Now, they're desperately trying to convince her to run.
Yeah, she could win.
She doesn't want to run because she knows how bloody and awful the experience would be. I don't know where her husband falls on that. But most of Barack Obama's advisors are trying to help Biden. And they can't. Because Biden is so ineffective.
I definitely agree.
The border is the best example that I've ever seen of that. So Vince, anyway, now you go right ahead. I think we've answered all your questions up to this point.
Bill, I want to ask you a question on cultural war issues, because I know you've been focusing on throughout your career on the issues in American culture and how we resolve them. It feels like over just the last few years that the left has taken things to extremes that most Americans were not ready for. I mean, we're seeing these gigantic debates around transgender access to sports and preferred pronouns and critical race theory. And I think there's a real backlash going on in the electorate to all of this now across all demographics. How did it get here so quickly?
Number one, these are niche issues. They don't permeate the mass of American voters. The thing that really torqued people off was the schools saying, look, we're going to teach critical race theory to your kids. We're going to give them a woke agenda. We're going to tell them about content, gender content, I call it, that 5-year-olds to 9-year-olds can't possibly process or understand. And it's the parents' purview anyway. I mean, we are a country that believes that the family unit is the primary educator, not the federal government or the state government. Yeah. We've always believed that. And so traditional people and even the unaligned independents say, look, we don't want some teacher coming out of Princeton or Harvard telling our 6-year-old about trans people.
Right.
We don't.
Right.
Now, if the progressive left weren't so blinded to the light, as the rock song goes, they would have said, we will do an anti-bullying campaign. Because I am a former high school teacher. I saw the bullying and the gay kids and all of that. If you're a little bit different, you got hammered. And I try to protect those kids in my high school. And there should be state laws that are very strict against bullying, internet and in person. Mm-hmm. There are not. Yeah. That is where the progressive left should go, not into the propaganda zone. But the economy overrides all of that social issue.
Can I chime in, Vince?
Go ahead, Jason.
I think I caught the tail end of that, and I apologize for having to step away for a second, taking care of my family. But I do want to say, what do you think about some of what's going on in terms of the I think it's Texas again that wants to charge families that take their kids to like drag queen story hour. Have you heard about this?
Well, look, the Texas legislation, I've heard about it. I don't really embrace it in any way by analyzing it. It's never going to get passed. You can't fine people, Americans, for taking their kids anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So when that stuff happens, I ignore it. Mm-hmm. I ignore it on both sides. It's not, I got a lot of important things to do here, guys, as you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we are the strongest, most successful independent news agency in the world now.
Bill, I want to ask you. I want to ask you about BillO'Reilly.com and your career here for a moment, and then of course we'll get to your great book. In television, I was wondering if you've had a chance to see your old friend Jesse Waters do his program for Fox, and the reason I ask in part is obviously we got to know Jesse Waters courtesy of your show on the Fox News Channel, as he would do man on the street interviews for you. But now, interestingly, when I see his program, it strikes me that his format is very much like what you used to do with the O'Reilly Factor. Because, even kind of his cadence, like it's kind of clear that, he came up alongside you. What do you make of that?
I don't make anything of it. I mean, he's smart to imitate the Factor. We were far and away the most successful cable news show in history, the highest ratings in history. Nobody's come close to us. So he was trained by me, as are almost every primetime Fox News Channel producer. They all came up under us because we're like the Navy SEALs. You get through me as far as journalistic training and television training, you know what you're doing, because we have very, very high standards of news gathering. We can't make any mistakes, and we don't. And we are perceptive enough to put forth stuff that interests people. People want to watch and hear. Yeah. So you combine the two, and that's the recipe for success. So Waters is smart in trying to do that.
Yeah, it seems to me, I just watched that and I can almost hear you doing sometimes the delivery, watching as he delivers some of these segments. And the other guy who I'm looking at, Jason, who, you know, obviously is now at 8 o'clock on Fox, is Tucker Carlson. And I wonder, there's only like one person on the planet I can ask who would be able to assess this, and that's Bill O'Reilly, a guy who succeeded in that time slot for what, 16 straight years, Bill?
Yeah, number one for 16 straight.
Yeah, what do you make of Tucker's success in that time slot?
Well, look, he's a different kind of commentator than I am. I think he succeeded because he's interesting. There are people in America that want a different take, which he provides. And that is the essence of his success. Now, you got to remember, for 2 years after he took over for me, his ratings weren't very straight. They were all right. But then he took a much sharper point of view. And that's the name of the game in cable. I mean, Maddow, the only reason she succeeds is because she is far left. Now, there are imitators over there on MSNBC, but they're not as smart as Maddow. Okay, so they can't really bring it like she can. Right. But I think that Carlson realized that the world is a niche world. People now watch people that it's almost like an echo chamber. You say what they want you to say. People want their belief system reinforced. So it's different than what I did. I programmed for everybody, and our research showed that everybody watched. It wasn't an ideological show.
Sure. But the only pushback I would offer is that I don't see Tucker Carlson as strictly ideological in the sense that he's speaking into the same echo chamber that you might expect the average conservative commentator to speak into. I mean, he's confronted big business interests and asked open questions about the capital gains rate, all sorts of things that are not typical conservative talking points fare.
I don't think Tucker Carlson's a conservative. I didn't say he was a conservative. I think Tucker Carlson's an independent thinker. Mm-hmm. He has certain subjects that interest him very much.
Right.
But he's giving you the world of Tucker Carlson.
Right.
And I mean, you guys know him. He founded your website.
Right.
I don't think anybody would disagree with it's the world of Tucker Carlson at 8 o'clock. Here's what Tucker thinks about this. Here's what he thinks about that. You can't pigeonhole him. And that has an appeal for a certain audience. And so he was smart to do that, just like Waters was smart to do, a factor, not imitation, but an homage. Carlson figured out, look, I can't do a generic news analysis show. I got to be me,
right,
as the song goes. And that's what he did, and that's why he succeeded.
So, Bill, I guess sticking on your career, I have two quick questions. One is, why did you not get back into cable news? I know you got some offers. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that you got offered by, it was either One America or Newsmax. You got offers to get back into cable news, and that was really somewhere where you succeeded for a long time. Why didn't you do that? And my second question, because I know we have a limited amount of time, is with the returns that we saw coming out of Georgia, do you think that Trumpism has outgrown Donald Trump? Because it seems like Donald Trump, the people he endorsed were losing by 20 points, sometimes 50 points. Is it that his audience has now moved beyond him?
Well, Vance won in Ohio, Oz won in Pennsylvania. Trump was behind them both. I don't think you can make any assessments. I think it's a press thing there. They're trying to tell people that Trump is losing his mojo, whatever it is. I don't even follow it. I don't care who Donald Trump endorses. Doesn't matter to me. The only thing I care about is that Trump ran the economy well. That's what I care about, because that's what most Americans have to face. We are not in a good economic place right now. Trump will, I think, run for president again. He has a constituency. It is possible he will win. I think he makes a mistake by continuing this election stuff. He should simply run on his record. That would be my advice to him, should he ask. As for me, once I got out of corporate America, which I had been in almost 42 years, I had enough of it. I did not want to work for a corporation anymore, any corporation. So I started my own. And believe me when I tell you, and I had flattering offers, not only from the cables, but from some broadcast operations, very flattering. But I'm making tons more money now running my own corporations, and I have total freedom. I have to go to dopey meetings and listen to these suits talk about stuff they have no idea about.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that.
And that it's
Now,
that
I
in and
only
of
have to
itself
listen
is
to myself.
that's worth a lot of money.
What's going on?
That's worth a lot of money there, right there. The ability to have editorial independence. All right, let's talk about the book, Killing the Killers: The Secret War Against Terrorists. It's a part of your long-running Killing series, which you've written alongside Martin Dugard. Give us the lowdown on this one. What is this version about?
Okay, number one, this Killing series is the most successful nonfiction book series of all time. Now, if that doesn't impress Jason, who's never read a Killing book, I don't know what will. The best-selling nonfiction book series of all time. Killing the Killers, out now, the 11th in the series, #1 New York Times bestseller. Do you know how hard it is for Bill O'Reilly to get on the New York Times #1 position? Do you know how hard that is? So we have overwhelmed the book industry, as we did with the cable TV industry and the radio industry. And I sound conceited, but I really am humbled by it. I mean, I never in a million years when I was growing up, and, you know, I was, if you read A Bold Fresh Piece of Humanity, my bio, you'll know Vince, where I come from, because Vince went to the same grammar school I went to.
I did.
Daily Caller, you didn't know that. Your viewers didn't know that. But anyway, Killing the Killers is the best reporting I've ever done. It shows you how America is protecting you right this second with the awesome weaponry and surveillance capabilities we have. People don't know about them. They're classified. And how we waxed Osama bin Laden, al-Baghdadi, Soleimani, the leaders of Boko Haram, how there are ground troops in Africa right now fighting ISIS. Nobody knows any of this. We got it. It's in the book, which is why it's selling hundreds of thousands of copies.
It is impressive. It is impressive to see the success, a #1 New York Times bestseller. Again, without the platform that you had before with Fox, and you're succeeding here in a big way. That is a commentary. You know, you hear Bill talk about it. Oh, BillO'Reilly.com is doing so great. It's like anybody can say that, but then you look at a number like this, and you got #1 New York Times bestseller. You clearly have a massive audience out there that's obviously buying these books, very interested in this.
Yeah, I mean, the world has changed now. You guys know that. You work in the industry. That people are not tethered to the networks or the cables anymore. And that's a good thing, because they're repetitive. They don't tell you the truth. I'm generalizing now, but it is, what I'm saying is true. Corporations interfere all day long. CNN destroyed itself by being a hate Trump network, not just skeptical of Trump. We hate Trump. And they destroyed it. Even liberal Americans know you're not getting any kind of objectivity out of a news organization. MSNBC is just in business to promote left. Fox News pretty much in business to promote right. So people who want information, they go to the internet. They go to media outlets that they can access. I mean, you can access the No Spin News if you're a BillO'Reilly.com premium member. And by the way, we keep the price of that very low, and we save you a ton of money. So if people are listening, if you subscribe to us, we will save you a lot of money on a lot of things. But anyway, people know now what the game is, and they would rather have access to what they want on the internet, which is why you guys, Daily Caller, BillO'Reilly.com, are prospering. It's as simple as that. It's a business model.
So, Bill, since we talked a little bit about, your upbringing, I want to ask you about something that I read a long time ago, and that was your upbringing in Levittown and your run-ins with another Bill, and that would be Billy Joel. Is it true that you guys grew up together?
Yes. So Billy Joel was in the Hicksville section of Levittown, and O'Reilly was in the Westbury section. Levittown was a giant, massive housing development after World War II. All the GIs came back. All right. They didn't have any money. They got very low mortgages. My dad and mom moved in there in 1951. whole house, $8,000, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, no garage, and massive people moved in because that was the culture then. So Billy Joel's, he was raised primarily by his mother, and he went to Hicksville High. I went to Chaminade, which was a Catholic school, and we would see his crew. He had a little gang, and summer nights, all the kids would go up to what they called the green, where the grocery store and the pool was and the pizza place was, and we'd sing. And his crew sang a cappella, and my gang sang, and we kind of like have sing events. And a few years ago, he came over to my house on Long Island for dinner, and my kids were there. And Billy Joel and I did an a cappella of So in Love. I forget the group. So in love are we two. That. I thought my kids were going to die. Right at the dinner table. So wow. I've known Joel for a long time. He's a good guy. He still lives on Long Island as I do.
Wow. So we're now all of our viewers, you can see Bill O'Reilly claims that he can out-sing Billy Joel.
No, I didn't say that. See now, Jason? You spun it. You spun it.
I'm kidding. Let me unspin it.
Yeah. The only thing I have over Billy Joel is that I'm 6'4". Everything else he's better than I am at.
Amazing. Well, it's been an amazing conversation with you, Bill O'Reilly. Thanks so much for spending time with us. Again, you can get to Bill at BillO'Reilly.com and check out his best-selling book, Killing the Killers, available now. Thank you, Bill.
Okay, guys. Thanks for having me in. Good luck.